now here on set. Philip, you heard exactly what Israel said. You've heard what Hamas has said as well. And it does seem to be coming, doesn't it, as that growing threat, if you like, of that ground incursion on Rafah seems to be continuing.
Well, this has been a pretty fast-moving story all morning here in Paris. Stuart, first glimpse of something happening came in around 7 o'clock this morning, about 3 or 4 hours ago. And the military is saying in Israel that what they're doing is they are instigating a limited scope evacuation of about 100,000 people from Rafah. Now, they haven't said they're going to launch the invasion now or anytime soon, but I mean, all of this leads one to believe that this is what is happening and this is the next thing that the Israeli military is planning. There has been a call between Yoav Gallant, the defense minister of Israel, and Lloyd Austin, the defense secretary of the United States, overnight, obviously to talk about what is going on. We know the United States is against this military action in Rafah. But if you look at the opinion poll ratings for Benjamin Netanyahu back at home, they're not pretty good right now. They're pretty mediocre for him. Only 57% say he's doing a poor or very poor job, 28% good or excellent, only 14% a so-so job. So he needs to do something to try to show that he's in control, that he's in charge. And all the way down the line, one of the objectives of the Israeli government has been, okay, we want a ceasefire deal with Hamas, but we're not going to abandon the idea of a ground offensive in Rafah. Now, the reason for that is that the Israeli government thinks and knows that it has 4 Hamas cells that are operating from within Rafah, which is where a large number of Palestinian refugees have gathered. They say that they need to crush those Hamas cells to be able to finish off the job in getting rid of Hamas, to make sure that Hamas doesn't come back and take control again of the Gaza Strip, rebuild its military, and be in a position to launch fresh attacks against Israel. So all this has been building up over the last few weeks, but there's been no let-up. Even though Israel has said it wants a ceasefire deal, in its determination to launch this ground offensive in Rafah, and that's what we appear to be seeing the premises of right now.
So the ceasefire talks, the Israelis linking what's happened this morning directly to those talks. What's gone wrong at them?
Okay, well, if you look at the details that were originally put forward for this ceasefire deal, a 40-day ceasefire, Hamas to release 33 of the 130 hostages that it's holding, Israel to release 1,000, if not Palestinian prisoners, displaced families allowed to return specifically to northern Gaza, and an Israeli pledge for a period of sustained calm. This has not been accepted by Hamas, which says what it wants is a total ceasefire and a total withdrawal of Israeli forces from the Gaza Strip. Israel has said that is not negotiable, and that is something they're not willing to give into. So Israel has not been present at the talks in Cairo. Hamas has returned to Qatar to see what their response is going to be to this. They're due back in Cairo again later today or tomorrow to reply to that. But it looks like the prospect of a ceasefire deal anytime soon is being pushed further and further into the long grass. And that, of course, is not good news for any of the refugees, Palestinian refugees who've been moved around in Gaza, especially right now as this ground offensive appears to be coming sooner rather than later.
Yeah, as you were talking earlier, Philip, we saw those images, in fact, of those tent cities where the Israelis said they're due to evacuate those people to nearby Khan Yunis and Al-Mawasi. Of course, all of this is not going to help that situation in the Gaza Strip. The threat of famine across the whole Strip, really, growing and growing by the day.
And more bad and depressing news for the people in the Gaza Strip when they hear about how bad the famine threat is. This has gone up remarkably, according to the World Food Programme, since December. Back then, 570,000 people were threatened with shortages of food. Now it's 1.1 million. And the problem is that famine, which is rife in northern Gaza, is moving slowly southernwards. That hasn't been helped by the attack against the crossing point Kerem Shalom, which is now closed due to skirmishes between Hamas and Israeli forces. That was one of the key entry points for aid into the Gaza Strip. That is bad news. And going back to the impending ground offensive in Rafah. We don't know what the future of the Rafah crossing is going to be if that ground offensive gets underway. So it could be even greater threat of famine and lack of food in the Gaza Strip for the people there. So it's really not good news today, I'm afraid, for the 1.5 million or so Palestinians who are desperately in need of food aid and looking for food to survive over the next few days.
Philip, thanks very much. Philip Turle, international affairs editor.